Good morning, grade 12s. Today we are starting with chapter 8. The topic of chapter 8 is team performance and conflict management. Right, so obviously conflict is more likely to occur when people with different beliefs and backgrounds work together. So obviously in a business doesn't consist of a homogeneous kind of mix of people. Obviously we try and promote diversity at the workplace, but when there are people that have different beliefs, different backgrounds, different cultures, different moral values, different opinions, obviously conflict is going to be more likely. They are not always going to agree on what the correct course of action is. And a business will not be able to achieve their goals if their employees fail to work together in teams. Now, without even realizing it, a business is made up out of a lot of teams. Okay, like for example, the financial department will be a team. The marketing department is a team. Within those departments, there can be smaller teams. So it's very important that employees are able to work in a team. It's not always going to happen that a person can just work by himself. It is very important that our employees can put their differences aside and work together in teams. So managers must be familiar with the causes of conflict so that they can develop relevant strategies on how to deal with the conflict. Conflict obviously have to be dealt with. People that cannot work together in a team as a result of conflict, if that conflict is not resolved, obviously that team is not going to reach their goal. It's going to be more difficult for those people to work together. So for a manager, it is very important that they're able to identify the cause of conflict, because if they don't know what is causing the conflict, they cannot resolve the conflict. All right, so it's very important that they identify what is causing conflict so that they can resolve the matter and people can carry on working together once that conflict has been dealt with. Right, so in this lesson, we are basically just going to focus on the terminology, the different key concepts like we always do. If we refer to a team, we are referring to a group of people who work together to achieve a common goal. If you are in a team, that team obviously has a goal that they're trying to reach, a deadline that they have to meet, a strategy that they need to come up with. So if you are in a team, it means that you are one of many people. There's a group of people working together to achieve that goal. What do we mean when we say conflict? Okay, conflict happens when there's a disagreement or a clash of opinion in the workplace. Okay, very much our focus is going to be on conflict in the workplace. Obviously, conflict also exists outside of the workplace, but our focus is in the business. So in the business, if there is a clash of opinions, there's a disagreement, we are going to refer to that as conflict. People are not agreeing on something. The one person says A, the other person says B, and they can't seem to agree on what the correct course of action is. That is conflict. They cannot reach an agreement. The task at hand, task or work, that is the activity or the function that has to be performed by an individual or by the team members that are part of this team. Okay, so your job, the thing that you need to be doing as part of the team, that is your task. That is the work that you are supposed to be doing. You are going to be given certain tasks to finish, and this is the things that is your responsibility. Those things that has to get done, that will be your responsibility. Teamwork is when you interact with your team members. So in other words, you work together with your team members so that you can achieve your common goal. All right, so the way that you interact with your team members so that each person can perform their tasks that was delegated to them, so that as a team together, the goal ultimately can be achieved. All right, so teamwork refers to the way that different people in a team is going to be working together. When we talk about team dynamics, that is the way in which our team members work together. Now, there's different theories, team dynamics theories, as to different kind of personalities in a different group. The theories you actually did in grade 11, so we are not going to look at it again this year. But team dynamics means how. Now, how are team members working together? Who are the introverted people? Who are the extroverted people? Who likes to be in control? Who likes to just be given tasks to do? All right, so that refers to your team dynamics. Now, how are these different team members going to work together to reach their goals? Right, the forming. This is the first step. You'll see there's a couple of them coming now. The first, the steps in kind of team performance. All right, so we're going to just look at them. Obviously, each of these we are going to look at in detail in tomorrow's lesson. Okay, so the first one is forming. This is the stage of team development where team members get to know each other and they learn to accept their roles in the team. So forming is the very, very first stage of team development. Okay, when you just got your team together, so people are now know, okay, these are the people that I'm working with together in this team. So different team members now get to know each other. Obviously, different kinds of people. They might not have worked with them before, so we get to know them, and people kind of, you get a feel for the other people and what your role in this team is going to be. The second step is storming. This is where team members now confront each other with their different ideas. Obviously, we need to come up with a strategy, or we're working together on market day, whatever the case may be. But different team members will now confront each other with their different ideas. And as I said, you'll see later on in the year when we do diversity, sometimes it is a good idea to have different kinds of people in your team. Because if you put team members together, if your team just consists of all of them like the same, then they're not going to come up with good ideas or different out-of-the-box kind of ideas. Part of creative thinking is we want different people, different kinds of personalities, different people with different ideas we want to throw together in a group. Obviously, this is now the source of the conflict, ultimately. But during the storming phase, obviously they have been given a goal, they're trying to do something, and now they're coming up with different ideas as to how they can reach their goal. And the more diverse the team are, different people, introverted personalities, extroverted personalities, strong personalities, weak personalities, obviously different people are going to come with different ideas. And as I said, this might create conflicts, because different people, there's not always going to be an agreement. People are going to not always agree with each other's ideas, and you're going to maybe feel that my idea is better than your idea and your idea is stupid. Okay, so during this phase, there is a lot of conflict. Right, norming is the third stage. This is where team members now have learned to accept each other, and they set common goals and values for the team. Okay, so at this stage now, hopefully most of the conflict has been resolved and people accept each other for what they are. Okay, they realize all of them are not going to be the same. They realize that they are not always going to agree on everything, but now they need to get set kind of ground rules. What are the values of this team? What is this team trying to reach? So they need to set their individual differences aside and they work to achieve the goal of the team. Right, performing is the fourth stage. This is where teams are now starting to achieve their goals. So they've made their decisions, they've implemented their strategies, they have thought of what they're trying to do, and they now start doing their little jobs. Each person do what is being delegated to him, and they start to do what they're supposed to do so that they can achieve their goal. The last phase is called adjourning or mourning, and this is where team members have to leave the team. So the task that they were set out at the beginning, that which they had to complete, the task that they had to complete, that task has now been completed, and now the team members can actually leave the team. They've done what they were supposed to do, so they don't have to stay in this team. Okay, the team will come to an end once that goal has been reached. So as soon as their goals have been reached, team members now have to leave the team. The team is going to be dissolved, and they might or might not become members of a different team with now a different goal for the future. Right, when we refer to performance, team performance, the word performance means whether we have reached our goal. We look at what we have done, our accomplished task, what have we done, and we're going to measure that against preset known standards. All right, so literally our goal was X, Y, and Z. We have achieved a certain amount of stuff. Now we need to compare what we have achieved with what the goal was initially. All right, so if we wanted to launch a marketing campaign and the goal that we were trying to reach, the preset standard, was that we needed to increase our market share with 10%. Now, that is your preset known standard. So in a team, we have brainstormed different strategies, how to do this. We have implemented our strategies. Everybody did what they were supposed to do as part of this team. And 6 months down the line, we want to now see, right, we have accomplished that our market share has increased with 8%, for example. Okay, 8% is not what we set out to do. We wanted 10%, or we've reached 12%. So we've exceeded the expectation. All right, but performance means literally we are going to look at what we have achieved and we're going to compare that against the initial goal that we were trying to reach. Team dynamics theories, I referred to this earlier. Okay, your team dynamics theories are different theories that different people have come up with over the years to try and explain how people interact with one another inside of these teams. All right, and the whole idea with these team dynamics theories is that if you know in a team, if you can identify certain personalities in your team, you are better equipped then to allocate tasks according to the roles of the individual members. So, for example, if I know that one of the team members is very, very introverted, I am not going to give that person the task of reporting back to the group. He probably doesn't like speaking to the group. All right. So the whole idea behind team dynamics theories is that we need to try and explain, we need to look and see what the different personalities are that is in a group, and the likes and the dislikes of those people and how those different people can interact with each other, so that when we delegate tasks and we give each person the task that they are supposed to perform, we can allocate these tasks according to those people's strengths. We don't give them something that they don't really don't like. Right, if we go over to the conflict definitions, when we talk about a grievance is literally a formal complaint that is laid by an employee that feels he has been ill-treated by the employer. All right, so a grievance, it's more than just not being happy, right? When you have a grievance, you have reached like the final straw. You want to lay a formal complaint. You feel that your employer is not treating you nicely. There's some discrimination, or he's rude, or there's sexual harassment, whatever, okay? But you lay a formal complaint. It's not a grievance unless you have laid a formal complaint, and it has to be in a case, this has to happen at the workplace, all right? You have been mistreated at the workplace by your employer, and you are not happy with it, so you lay a complaint. Cooperation or collaboration. This means that you are willing to cooperate in a team to achieve its objectives. Right, you get cooperative people, you get people that just don't cooperate, okay? Cooperation means everybody in the team are working together. The people in the team are working together, they're cooperating with each other. There's not one that's swimming against the stream and working against the others, okay? They are working together to reach its objectives.
Mutual means that two people share the same feeling. All right, so if it's a mutual feeling, it means that I feel in a certain way and the other person feels exactly the same. That makes it a mutual feeling. Commitment, if people make a commitment to the team, it means that the person is making a promise and he is keeping that promise. So he's keeping the promise, he's sticking to the arrangement that was made. So if a commitment was made to work on a Saturday, then everybody shows up and they work on the Saturday. They keep to the agreement. accountability. We've done this earlier in the year already. Remember, accountability means that somebody is being held responsible for his or her actions. People don't deny responsibility. People take responsibility for their actions, means that they are accountable. Interpersonal attitudes. Okay, it's a personality that a person continuously develops. Obviously, we said in the team dynamic theories, we do identify different types of personalities, and a person's personality can change over time. Okay, so the personality that you keep developing as it is changing, that is your interpersonal attitude. Interpersonal behavior, that refers to the way two or more people interact with one another. Okay, so inter means between. So between different people. So how do people behave when they are interacting with each other? Shared values is in a team environment. If a group of people share the same set of standards and beliefs, you will see when we make teams in a business, one of the things that they have to decide on in their team is the core values. What are their core values? It is those values that everybody in that team believes in and that they will accept as shared values in the group. For example, to not interrupt each other. In our team, it's not acceptable to interrupt a person that is speaking, for example. Okay, a shared value can be when we have a meeting, everybody must be on time. Okay, things like that is shared values. It's things, values, norms, standards that the group set for themselves that everybody buys into. To assess means to check how well something has been done. Okay, so if we are assessing the success of our team, we are basically checking on how successful has it been done. Have we reached our goal? Have we been successful or not?